Hello, everyone. So let's talk about engaging with someone's soul rather than their animal instinct. So I'm going to start off with a story. There was once this man. He's he could be a man anywhere, but he was in California, Los Angeles. There were a number of dogs that were wild in the area. That didn't have owners, only knew how to survive through viciousness and pursuing prey. Now, one day, multiple of these dogs, about three or four, um, cornered a woman against the door of her own house, and she was facing them. And she knew if she turned her back to put the lock in the first gridiron door and then the door itself, that they would pounce on her as soon as she turned her back, and so she was up against the corner right next to the door. Um, a man was walking by, an interesting man, and he saw that she was in trouble and that these dogs, no matter if she turned her back or not, were going to get her. We're going to bite her, maybe even worse, maybe even tear her apart. So he walks up to the dogs right behind them, and they kind of look over their shoulder a little bit, and he yells something at them. Know your place. You don't have the right. The dogs cowed a little bit, and they all kind of turn around a little bit cowed. And he said once again, firmly and without any fear, know your place. Do not do this. And the dogs whined a little bit, and they kind of, I wouldn't say a complete full-on run, but they definitely trotted away, and they were whining. And, he goes up to the woman, and the woman says, how did you do that? You got them to leave me alone by speaking English. They don't understand words. These are wild dogs. There's no way that they understood any of the words that you just said. And the man says, I chose to engage with their soul rather than their instinct. So, what we can learn from this story, it's not just dogs that are like this. Most people are working off of instinct. I'm attracted physically to this, so I go after it. Not really thinking of, women or men, whatever gender it is. Not really thinking of somebody you want to have sex with as somebody who has a soul, more so like I am attracted to this person. Animal instinct. Or perhaps you want to gain more and more security. Perhaps you train in the martial arts so that nobody could really hurt you. Perhaps you buy a security system that's really like top notch, and you get guard dogs. Or perhaps you have enough money to hire guards somewhere. Or perhaps you just direct your life in a way to where you seem scary. You get tattoos, a bunch of tattoos all over your arms, face. You become a part of some kind of group. You delve deep down into yourself, never, but you delve into how I can become more scary. And, the martial arts aspect, there is depth in martial arts, but most people join it in order to know how to fight so that they don't have to be afraid. This is all animal instinct. So, there's a reason why, here's another story. Paramahansa Yogananda once talked about this. He once called tigers his kitty cats. And, at one point, him and other people were kind of like stranded outside of a house one day, and it was kind of like in the jungle. And this tiger comes up. By no means a tame tiger comes up, and everybody's afraid. But Paramahansa Yogananda walks up to this tiger, and he looks at it, and it plops down and rolls on its back like a house cat. do not try this unless you do not try this either in the dog instance or the tiger instance, because unless you know exactly what you're doing. Because, while there's the animal handling aspect, the biggest aspect in this is knowing how to engage with the soul in that animal, and not its baser instincts. The baser instincts that humans have. There's a reason why great men and yogis and others, even lion tamers or ones that take care of lions and tigers, there's this underlying knowledge, especially with yogis, because they can engage with the soul. A lot of lion tamers are people who handle big cats, just completely get rid of their fear and become close with the animals. But I'm not talking quite of something like that. I'm talking about engaging with the soul of that animal. What that man on the streets had in common with yogis, you can say yogis are more advanced spiritually, is that they knew how to engage with the soul of the animal and not engage with the instinct that other human beings have as well. I'm kind of jumping around here, but stay with me. So I've been listening to this book, Musashi, that was written between late 1800s, mid 1900s. And he becomes so good at fighting. He can take on, 24 opponents. But he realizes that, he doesn't go and start fights. Sometimes he'll challenge somebody, but then once that person loses, either dies or is defeated, everybody else that's a part of that school, that dojo, that family gets mad at him and wants to kill him, and devises ways where they can ambush him, and they can all kind of group around him and kill him in some way. And this happens again and again, and he can take on he takes on the original guy and then kills the original guy that he challenged. He actually doesn't necessarily want to kill, he wants to defeat, but most of the people who fight him are trying to kill him. So he takes it to the next level. And then again and again, every time he does this, the family members, the other people in the dojo, come after him again and again and again. And eventually he learns that, if I kill this guy, then there'll be 20 people after me. If I kill those 20 people, 100 people will be after me. If I kill that 100 people, then 1,000 people will be after me. Those people have family, friends, other dojos. They want to protect their pride as samurai. He's engaging with samurai. He's not just challenging your average, farmer or something like that. He starts to see a victory as not something that has to be done physically, as much as you can win the battle of wills. Not all of us are seeking the path of the warrior. The vast majority are not. But if you are, sometimes the battle of wills, not only is it a better option, but it's also the more true option as a warrior. Defeating somebody without even drawing your blade, that's remarkable. And that shows understanding of the nature of humanity, what we are deep down and how we work within. So, returning to engaging with something soul, a battle of instinct, animalistic instinct, even in humanity. In this conversation, in this example, I'm talking about the human instinct, the animalistic instinct within us and humans. If you fight, no matter what weapon you have, or if you are your own weapon, and you're engaging with somebody's instinct, the battle is not won. It is only survived to varying degrees. Even if you win a fight, it only means that you survived, not won. If you kill the other person, it only means that you survived, not won. It comes down to realizing that no matter how tough you are, no matter how well you can fight, the true victory is not an animalistic or instinct victory. It's a victory of human will. And you can never really win until you know how to fight with your will rather than your hand, rather than your sword, rather than your gun. There's a lot of cowards out there who really hope that somebody tries to come in their home and steal stuff so that they can shoot them. It's not a win. It's you trying to both subdue your fear and prove to yourself that you are strong. But it's not winning. I'm not saying you shouldn't shoot somebody that invades your home. That's not my point. My point is that winning doesn't happen in the realm of physicality. It doesn't happen with instinct, animalistic instinct. It happens, the true warrior knows how to battle with will. So another story in the book of Musashi, which is 53 hours long if you're listening to an audiobook, he talks about he came on this old man, walking by this man plowing a field, and he felt this extreme terror, like he was about to get into a fight, and he was just looking out the corner of his eye, and he saw that guy with the hoe, he was also looking out the corner of his eye. And I'll take away a lot of details here so it's not too long. But later on, and then, well, before I skip ahead, basically Musashi felt like this terrible and tremendous wind hit him. This force just rammed into him, even though this guy just stopped plowing and he's just standing there looking out the corner of his eye. He felt like this force just hit him, and it made him afraid, and it felt like he had to get away from this guy. It was defeated without even looking this guy in the eyes. And later on, he realizes that this guy is the headmaster of this, martial arts group, using that term very vaguely. And he also learns that this guy decided he's the master of this dojo, but he decided long ago to not wield the sword again, to not even train people and himself using a practice sword. He was only going to train people with his mind and his will, never picking up a weapon ever again. You might be thinking, oh, well, that hoe could have been a weapon. Yes, the hoe that he was using could have been a weapon, but that's not what Musashi felt. He felt this man's will. And then later on, when he starts to really know this guy, he's like, the guy tells him, look into my eyes. And Musashi's looking into his eyes, and there was such power in his will and his gaze that Musashi had to look away. And that's one of the one of the fights that he had where he considered himself being the one who lost. Without him drawing his blade, without the other guy drawing his blade, with just the contest of wills of looking into this guy's eye. That is a battle. Using your body, your weapons, that is necessary a lot of the time, but that's secondary. The first thing is to learn how to engage with somebody truly. So whoever is more connected to their soul will win. That might seem strange, like how do you win a battle if you're more connected to your soul? But the thing is, when it comes to willpower and the spectrum of winning or losing, someone with the strongest will always be able to cow somebody who relies upon physical means of killing or fighting another. And sometimes the person that is better at fighting physically or with weapons, they might win physically. They might kill somebody. They might kill the person with a stronger will, but they did not win. They lost in the most terrible way possible, out of frustration a lot of the time. And sure, they might be alive and the other person dead, but who really won that fight? There's this old Buddhist quote, Zen Buddhist quote, well, not a quote, more of a story, but there was this samurai army coming through this town, and, the general's like, he's getting stuff from everybody because, he has to provision his army, but he's using an excuse to, rob people, basically. And then everybody showed him deference, but then, he presented himself before the temple. It's not a big temple, it's a small temple with a couple of monks or priests, Buddhist priests. And the Buddhist priest that's, or monk, it's one of the two. He keeps on sweeping off the deck of the temple, doesn't really show him any, deference or anything like that. And the general comes up, he's like, how dare you not give me deference or allow my troops to be and, sleep in your temple? don't you know, and he holds his sword out, don't you know that I can cut you through without blinking an eye? And the Buddhist priest says, he turns to him, he's like, don't you know that I could be cut through without blinking an eye? Wonderful. But even if the general won, which it doesn't explain the story, he didn't truly win. The way of the warrior is deeper. And the way of even being a person is trying to engage with other people's soul rather than engaging with their instinct. We should try to bring out the best in people and not the worst. For your average person is not going to encounter situations like that of Musashi or something like that, but think through and pass all the emotions that are related to instinct. Work through all that. Engage somebody as they are deep down. I've been practicing this for a while, and I don't always practice it well. You know, I'm not an expert at this. I'm just a novice. But I will say that I try to engage with somebody's soul rather than trying to be right in an argument or trying to beat them in an argument or even with, trying to cow somebody physically. I want to, as a person, engage with other souls because what is truly valuable within myself is my soul. So bringing out your value actually brings out the value in others. If you understand that you must engage with the soul, not the instinct. Now, that doesn't mean that a lot of people who say that they're engaging with souls are not cowardly. You have to know from where this desire to be compassionate and engage with souls come from. Is it because you're afraid of actually taking up a fight physically? Or is it because you know that that is not the way to fight? There's a difference. Even if you're not good at fighting, there's still a difference. We often cajole ourselves and say, we're so compassionate because we won't go into a fight. But the best way to be, the bravest person to be, is to be willing to fight physically, but not truly believing in it or understanding how to fight between souls. And, like I said, it's a battle. When you fight with someone's instinct, it's a battle of survival rather than winning. When it's a battle of souls, truly, the best circumstance where soul meets soul, at least, even 35%, the outcome is obvious. There's peace. The outcome is peace. If we can engage with each other's souls 35%, just 35% of our soul engaging with somebody else's soul, peace is guaranteed. Getting past a problem between you and that person is guaranteed. Because the soul doesn't deal in war, doesn't deal in battle. True bravery and truly even defeating somebody is not about taking anything away from them. It's about engaging with their soul. And if you win in a situation like that, if you are more connected to your soul, the way to make the victory glorious is to help teach that person something about the engagement that you had with your souls. If you can do that, then it's a complete victory, and everybody wins. Because if only one person wins, then it's not a very good battle. Everybody should learn and either be shown or realize that it's not the casing that makes a warrior. It is the lotus in the heart. At any rate, thank you very much for watching. I hope this was interesting, enjoyable. If you have any desire to contact me regarding any of these things, feel free to go to www.facebook.com/hunter.salazar, HUNTER.SALAZAR. You can message me, you can question me. As long as you're polite, I'm more than likely to respond to you. At any rate, thank you very much for watching. Connect your souls. Try to understand the path of the true warrior. And all of you, have a great day.